And
I can also just put the microphone closer to my face hole.
Definitely do that. We had that last week where you got comfortable and you were kind of fading back.
What's
Don't
the lesson
get comfortable
here?
is
Never
what I'm
get
telling
comfortable.
you.
Yeah, exactly.
In life, you
this
cannot
is
get
work.
comfortable.
Work harder.
Cannot
Stop
get
having
comfortable
fun.
in life ever.
Yeah.
This is Total Babble. Total Babble. It's a show about music, pop culture, social media, movies, the internet, relationships, TV, whatever. Total Babble. The Total Babble Podcast.
She's Emily, I'm Stu. We talk about everything, thus the name of the show. Welcome to it. First thing, I want to get a couple things out of the way because we talk and we'll go all over the place, and there's a couple important things I want to talk about. First off, remind me not to swear. Listening to previous shows, I'm swearing way too much, and I'm not doing it just to do it. I am using it as punctuation, but I'm punctuating way too much. So just really watch out for me being foul-mouthed. You don't swear that often. You nicely punctuate, I would say, if I'm being critical, and good work on the punctuation with the Fs. CBS, I would like to remind everybody that Stephen Colbert's last show, as we record this, is tomorrow night. I'm not a huge fan of him, but he got taken off the air because of his views and things he said. Anderson Cooper did his last show on 60 Minutes for CBS. They will be leaving the air not because they didn't do a quality job. They are leaving the air because they refused to bootlick Trump on CBS, his new propaganda network. That is why they are no longer there. So I want to remind everybody, CBS, Paramount, they are to be shunned. You should shun them wherever you can. Cancel your streaming. Don't watch them. Even if you tap into your terrible TV box, they get ratings credit for that. Don't do that. Barry Weiss nightly news now is down like over 4 million viewers, and they're starting to panic over there. And that's good. That's the way it should be. I'm not against people having an opinion that goes against mine, but I am against one-sided propaganda, and that's what CBS has become. So I wanted to say that. Hello, Emily. How are you?
Oh, hello, Stuart.
You know what? I'm tired of the term soapbox. I was going to say I'm going to get off my soapbox there. There was no soap. That goes back to people like in a public square talking at people or something, I think, right?
Yes. On occasion, we can say high horse.
Oh, yeah. I was told to get off my high horse this week. Somebody in business told me that. Why don't you get off of your high horse? And I wanted to type back, why don't you suck my ass? But that didn't quite work out that way.
Allow me to clamber down from my steed, ye peasants.
Well, if I get off my high horse, suck my ass. How about that? Oh, the way fantasies go in your head if they could actually go the way you want them to.
I'm imagining you like that bad baby girl. Catch me outside, how about that?
Yuck. Terrible. There's so many things as I go through life.
Catch these hands, how about that?
Oh. So many things as I go through life that I'm like, do I want to complain about that? It grates and irritates me so much. There's so many little things. And I feel like I could start a list, but I don't know if I want to start another. Oh, the one I saw earlier that I'm thinking of that I just remembered is when people are on their high horse and they're being really self-important and they get to the end of a sentence and they go, full stop. Oh, full stop. Oh, you just made a point there we can no longer discuss because you said full stop. That's so arrogant and terrible.
Oh, my goodness. So I've learned a couple of things here. The other one is that there are other people who are not a part of the Commonwealth that say full stop, because in this country we say period. In my home country we say full stop. Those are synonymous. That's the punctuation.
Right. I think they picked it up from somewhere, perhaps your people, but they're doing it as, they might as well say period, but that would be equally annoying. That's the way it is. Period. Oh, okay. No longer discuss then.
They didn't pick it up from my people because we're not, they'd get punched in the mouth if they talked like that in Australia. That's just ridiculous. Period. No. We're not out here doing that. And speaking about Australians, I don't know how or if you are aware of how insane it sounds to ask me as an Australian to help you stop swearing as much.
But see, you think
I
you
am
have
not
the
the-
reputation and do it a lot, but you don't. You don't swear nearly as much as I do, and I do it too much.
Maybe only on air.
Okay.
Perhaps this is the last bastion of profanity-free awesomeness. But generally speaking, I'm a bit of a
I've heard you
sweary
yell at
pants.
your pets off mic, so I feel like you have a point there. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm saying you're being very professional on the air. Good for you. That's what I'm saying.
Good for me. I'm going to put it on my resume.
And also the thing that I'm learning about you Australian people is that if we piss you off, you don't have guns, but you're really likely to just punch somebody in the mouth.
Correct.
Bit of yeah. All right.
Yes.
Just want to define things. Just want to see how it goes.
There is street fights are a thing. Bar fights are a thing. That was one of the things that really struck me when moving to the United States. None of that happens because everybody has a gun.
Right. And people don't want to cross the line.
Exactly.
So then are you
here's my hot take.
advocating for more guns because it causes less violence indirectly?
In fact, the opposite, and here's why. Tell me I'm wrong. I believe that violence does solve things.
Depending on the
And-
situation?
Depending on the situation, and so I want to be specific. I think that teaching people, in particular, I'm going to point to men, on how to exist in a public space could be improved if there was a little bit more punching people in the mouth.
Some people just need to be taught a lesson.
Right. And I think that if the consequences, one, I don't think there needs to be a lethal consequence, particularly for people under the age of 27 years old. Their prefrontal cortex is still developing. They say and they do stupid things. They drink too much. They behave badly. And then if they push it too far, maybe they need a smack in the chops.
You know what that is in layman's terms? In layman's terms, that is they're assholes. Young people are assholes. And it doesn't mean
They
they're
can
bad
be.
people. It means they're young and they're assholes. I was a young asshole once too. It happens.
Right.
Yeah.
And on occasion, I think being punched in the chops by a peer and fellow member of the community is way more formative than having one of your parents say, don't do that, or one of your mates saying, don't do that. And you just temper yourself. I also think we would have a lot less of these keyboard warriors. There are so many people out here. The other day, one of my sons was like, oh, could you imagine what utter chaos it would be like if you got all of those Twitter trolls in a room together? I said, well, actually, what I would predict that would happen is literally nothing. None of them would talk to one another, let alone get into an argument. And if they did get into an argument, they're such pussies, they would back down.
Where is the line that you draw, though, then? Like, do you Chris Rock, Will Smith all over the place? Like, that was ridiculous. It should still be illegal to punch somebody, right?
I think that, well, should it be illegal? Sure. I mean, it's not illegal if it's for sport, though, which I find funny. But I think that what he did in that Will Smith incident was ridiculous.
Right.
For many reasons. There's a time and a place for everything. I think walking up on stage during an award show and slapping somebody about the face is kind of ridiculous. I think challenging someone to a fight, I'm okay with it. I'm totally okay with a little bit of biff.
What if somebody challenges somebody to a fight and they're kind of a weakling and they don't show up at the fight and then they get beaten up? How illegal should that be? Should the person be thrown in jail that beat them up?
I think that actions have consequences. And so there's a difference between being bullied and getting backhanded because you're a prick.
Right.
Okay? And so I think that's the line of delineation. And I might sound like I'm advocating for violence. That is not necessarily it. But I think it's totally okay that if somebody wants to talk tough, push somebody around, put their head in the toilet or something, that somebody bigger and stronger smacks them in the chops.
I absolutely see your point and agree with that and have felt that way many times. But then I step back and look at it and I'm like, okay, how do we legislate that in our modern society? I devil advocate.
I don't think that we need to legislate it. I think that it is a tale as old as time, and it's a part of what happens in human civilization. And if we look back, there is a pecking order to things. And here is my contentious point. I think that because young men today don't get into enough fights or go out drinking or have enough argy-bargy, any of that kind of stuff, they get confused and weird and crazy on the internet.
They are angst-filled and they need a way to relieve that angst. So that's why we are at where we are at.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think they're struggling to find their place in the world. And I think we've done a disservice, and this is sort of a different point, moving away from the whole me advocating for more violence, which sounds kind of strange. But we're not doing a good enough job of protecting and upholding the role of our young men and men in general in society. I am a feminist, I want to say that, but I also think that equality is important, and just because we are winning as women, we still need to do a good job of continuing to nurture, grow, and celebrate the unique contribution of men, because both can exist, and our young men are in crisis because they don't know where they fit in this world. Not all of them, but a lot of them don't know where they fit anymore.
I agree. And I am for equality, and that means equality. That doesn't mean that we're going to hate all men. I don't have a valid example right now, but there are times when I go through life and I see a woman do something that's a little bit edgy, and I'm like, oh, that was a little bit edgy. And I'm like, okay, I'm totally fine with that. That's totally good. I'm okay. But if a man did that, wow, he would be called out and maybe even lose his job based on what was just said there or done there. And I feel like, okay, if one side can say it, the other side should be able to say it as well. It ought to be equal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander.
Goddamn gander. That's right.
Yeah, exactly. I think both of those things, I think that that's true. And I do believe that people have a role. And in saying this as well, I don't want to communicate in any way that I am really buying into, say, traditional gender roles or any of that kind of thing. That is not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that there are some unique differences that exist in different groups of people, and that everyone has a place in the world, and both or all groups should be able to be successful without the degradation or hampered success of the other.
Yeah, my thing is, I don't care what you are, and sometimes I don't get what you are. I don't know what you might be, and that doesn't matter. I don't have to understand that. We'll just have equality for everybody, and that takes care of itself. Everybody is the same with what they are allowed to get away with.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why people are so insane about wanting to legislate stuff that has nothing to do with them and their lives. Like, why do people care so much about whether or not same-sex couples get married? Why do people care so much about what bathroom trans people use?
I think there are parts of them that they don't want to face or realize, and it threatens that, and it makes them feel uncomfortable. How many times have you seen where the politician that is so anti-gay and against gays everywhere is in a bathroom sucking dick? That's his inability to be able to deal with that. And also, I think sometimes it is created and contrived because that appeals to the Jesus Taliban that they are trying to sell their BS to.
100%.
Yeah.
I've got an interesting insight for you that comes from some former CIA spies. There's a podcast, and the name escapes me, but there is a husband and wife team who were both spies for the CIA. And they were talking about the United States and its utilization of honey traps. Now, there are rules of engagement for the United States, and they are very unlikely to engage in the utilization of honey traps However, other countries do. And the statistic when trying to honey trap a target male is that there is a 60-40 split between whether or not they will send a man or a woman. And the 60% is 60% of the time they will send a man regardless, and they will be successful regardless of whether or not the target is gay or not. Because sexuality is a spectrum, and target men will more than a 50-50 chance let anyone suck their dick.
Wow.
Than just their proclaimed sexual preference.
So just to define this for listeners, you have a male spy. They will try to send somebody in to sleep with them and get information on them and entrap them into something terrible. And they send a dude 60% of the time.
They are successful with a dude.
Wow. That's amazing to me.
Yeah, and it's not the spy, it's a target. So it could be a government official, a high-value target, someone that they're trying to trap to get in a compromising situation, either to establish a relationship or to, get something like that. Yes, if it's a male target, they will send a man and be successful with it 60% of the time, even if that person is, married to a woman, for oversimplification.
That's mind-blowing to me. And part of that is just the fact that if you can get them compromised in something gay, that gives you even more power to bargain with. But the fact that it works is mind-boggling to me. Huh.
The thing that is fascinating to me is that is a statistic that can be extrapolated out. And it makes sense why there's so much homophobia. Because to your earlier point, men, for whatever reason, are afraid that they are gay. Not that somebody else is gay, that they might be gay. Boo-hoo.
And really, looking at myself, don't see that in me. Like, I at times have said, man, I wish I could suck a dude off. That would be great. If I could do men and women, that would be great. Double the playing field. Dudes, in a lot of cases, in my opinion, would be easier just because I am a man and I know how to completely relate to a man, except dude bros. And I just have no interest in that. Or is that me just not being honest with myself?
I think only you can answer that question.
All right.
But I totally get the whole, thinking that it would be easier.
Like, I feel if I was gay, I would be militant gay. I'd be doing guys in the street just to put it out there and be rebellious and protest effing. That's what I would do. It just I am so pounding my fist over equality for everyone, especially gay and trans society that have had to go through so much. I feel like I would be doing that a lot, and I just I don't have the interest.
That's really interesting. And I want to talk for a second about one of my friends. Okay, so one of my mates was in the military for a really long time. And once we were drinking and having a hilarious conversation, right? This guy is a massive meathead, former tank driver, just total bro.
Yeah.
Very far-right conservative guy, okay? However, he will openly admit to participating in orgies and gangbangs. And he said something once, and I'm going to try and paraphrase it because I laughed so hard I nearly pissed my own pants. He was like, yeah, of course I've sucked a dick. He's like, if you're in a gangbang and there's a dick and there's a hard dick in your face, you do what you got to do. You just take one for the team. It's a team game. It's like something like that. And I laughed and laughed and laughed. But the point that I'm trying to make is I also think that there is like a spectrum of sexuality. And then there are people who fall in love with people of the same sex and choose to live their life out loud. And then there are other people who are just out there just having sex. And guys in particular, it can be a lot more transactional for them.
Right.
It's just like, I'm here to get
With guys,
off.
it's just sex. That's all it is. That's why gay guys are just like, yeah, let's go.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's beautiful. It's just hilarious. I mean, it's just so interesting.
Do what
to
you
me.
want to do. That's the way I feel.
Right.
Do you think that he says, yeah, of course I've done that. I've gone to orgies. And is that an excuse just for what he would normally like to be involved in anyway? And that makes it okay because it was a 1 or 2 time thing at this special event? Like, is he not realizing his own inclinations, I guess?
No,
Okay.
he doesn't have any problem with that kind of thing.
Right.
Sees it more like a chore or a vegetable that you don't really like. Mom, I'm having dinner at somebody else's place. I'll just eat it because it's on my plate.
There you go. That's what it
That's
is.
okay.
Full stop. See how annoying that is? We're done now. Full stop. Fuck off. Oh, I just swore. God damn it. I was doing so good. All right.
Did you just swear?
I swore a couple times right there.
Oh my goodness gracious. I didn't even notice. You know what we need to do?
No.
We need to have the Total Babble replacement vernacular. Da 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 da.
She's got a jingle in mind.
Okay, so we just need to come up with a different word that you can use when you swear. And either A, if you have the presence of mind, just put it in there, or B, dub it over. So, crab sticks,
I wanted
fiddlesticks.
shock collars for a while. I've talked about that for years on the show. And the only problem with that is, like, you could have a remote there and shock me if I swear. But the only problem with that is there's
The
now
delay?
quite yeah, no, sure. There's now quite a few morning shows that have that idea and do the shock collar thing, and I never want to be accused of stealing anybody else's bit. So now my bit that was my bit can no longer be my bit because somebody else has co-opted my bit, even just by association. Full stop.
That must be
Yeah,
difficult.
yeah. It's terrible being me. You don't even know.
Yeah, it's a maze wrapped in an enigma, wrapped in anxiety.
Yeah. Which, by the way, you mentioned that I'm trying new drugs now. I'm doing this stuff called ashwagandha. Have you heard of
Oh,
this?
yeah, I know it. It's, Ayurvedic roots in India.
Yeah, what you just said. I'm doing that, and I think I'm doing too much because I have a little bit of a headache and hangover in the morning. I'm going to try to back it down a little bit. It seems to help with my sleep a little bit, and I guess it cuts down on cortisol, which is good. Nobody needs cortisol, so we'll see how that goes.
That would be good for you.
Yeah.
Something that if you can, that you may explore. I know you have trouble sleeping.
Yeah.
But going to bed earlier, winding down earlier, it'll balance your hormones and your cortisol out if you literally sleep more.
We talked about it before we went on the air, but I am part of the Night Watchman.
Yes.
There's that whole thing. Just to explain, there's a theory out there that if you are one of those people that is inherently prone to stay up late at night, that you come from a tribe of people that way back in caveman days or whatever, you were the group that stayed up late at night to guard against the saber-toothed tigers, and that stays ingrained in your DNA and gets passed generation to generation. And I think that is me, because I can be dead ass tired after not sleeping at all the night before at about 6 o'clock. And then I hit 9 or 10 o'clock and I'm wide awake. And I'm like, okay, let's see what's going on. Better watch for the tribe, I guess.
If you're willing to do an experiment,
I
maybe
experiment constantly.
for the purpose of the show, you may have already done this before, but imagine, what if you did a routine where you ate dinner earlier, took whatever drugs you wanted to, even if you took the Ambien or whatever, but did it at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Okay? And then you got a full 12 hours until you would usually wake up, and then take yourself to bed at 9. Don't sit on your phone and whatever and try to get to sleep, and then wake up at your usual time. What would happen if you did it for 5 days?
It sounds like I'm dismissing it, but I feel like that's what I did when I did mornings in radio, because you got to be up at 4 a.m. and you got to get to bed late. And I was terrible doing that because I never got to bed early. I would try to go to sleep and then I'd wake up and be up all night. And I really feel like it's kind of in me to just be up at night. But maybe, I've grown a lot since then. They say your body completely changes every 7 years or whatever that thing is. I haven't done that for a while, so maybe I should try to adjust. We'll see.
And your hormone profile and everything changes as you get older.
Yeah.
And so I need more sleep. And you wouldn't want to get up at 4 a.m.
Oh, no.
Although Shout out to all of my women going through perimenopause or menopause or whatever. Everyone's up at 3:30, 4 a.m. every day anyway. So it's just what happens.
Yeah. Anyway, into news stuff. You sent me this that we talked about a little bit, and this is coming off of the news that a week or so ago, Pete Hegseth, Chief Dude Bro, gave a speech that he thought was from the Bible. Turns out it was from Pulp Fiction. And first thing I'll do is give you an example of this. This is Samuel L. Jackson.
Enough is enough! I have had it with these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane! Everybody strap in! I'm about to open some fucking windows.
There you go. That's from Pulp Fiction.
Oh my God.
Sam rolled again. You just got Sam rolled.
Indeed. Yeah. Indeed, I did.
I was actually going to use that for this other story that we may or may not get to this week about a plane. But okay, I'll play you this. Actually. So Colin Jost actually predicted on SNL in a writer's room that this would happen with Pete Hegseth. And first, I'll play you this example that they gave of Hegseth's speech from a Fox News report.
Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War, quoted what he claimed was a Bible verse. However, it was pretty much a line from Samuel L. Jackson's speech from the film Pulp Fiction.
Blessed is he who, in the name of camaraderie and duty, shepherd the lost through the valley of darkness.
Shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness. For he is truly his brother's keeper.
Okay, that was Hegseth on the bottom in the movie.
He just called Pete Hegseth a bottom, I think. Do you think Pete Hegseth is a bottom? That's what I got from that comment right there. Like, I would never judge, even based on our previous conversation, be into what you're into. But the guy from Fox News has just said that Pete Hegseth is a bottom.
And you know that things have really taken a turn when Fox News is calling you out for being an idiot.
He might as well have just said, yeah, Pete Hegseth, he takes it like he likes it as a bottom. I like, if you're going to commit to it, commit to it.
Hegseth on the bottom and the movie on the top. Critics pointed out the similarities. Hegseth suggested the prayer was military inspired and tied to scripture. It was given to him by like a soldier, said they said it before they went into battle, but he certainly didn't address the questions of its origins.
Yeah, military inspired, like your father carried this watch in his ass all his life through the war. That's how that was military inspired.
Totally.
So many great moments from that movie. And then here is Colin talking about how this came up before it even happened with Jimmy Fallon.
We were pitching, we were talking, like in the writer's room, we were pitching ideas for one of the cold opens like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, would it be funny if Hegseth just did that Bible verse that they have in Pulp Fiction? Remember, they're like, from Ezekiel, the Samuel Jackson.
17,
yeah, we talked about it, and we were like, that would be too ridiculous. That would be, and it would take up all this time in the cold open. It would seem like we wouldn't. And then he for real did it.
Yeah, that's right. Dude, he for real did it.
Like 2 weeks later.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, well, the good news is I'm being surveilled.
Yeah, that's a good, yeah.
So that's a relief.
The room is listening.
It was crazy.
So that's how that all worked out. And I am just amazed day after day about how this bunch of misfits just continues to screw up everything. Every time you turn around, they've got their foot in their mouth. It's really kind of funny.
It's kind of funny. The part that isn't funny, though, is how it's not slowing down and it feels like nothing we do changes anything. And even when we have what I'll refer to as good Republicans, and I'll use Thomas Massie as an example. Thomas Massie just had $30 million of campaign money dropped on his head to get rid of him rather than have our government investigate the Epstein files. That is the timeline that we are in. The Republican Party would rather get rid of representatives who question the Supreme Leader, Lord Taco himself, and spend lots and lots of money to do it.
And define what you just said. They basically gave campaign funds to his opponent, is what you're saying, right?
Yes. So Donald Trump hand-picked an opponent.
Right.
Endorsed him. He's some outside fucking random that's never done shit about shit, and he just won against an 8-year incumbent in Kentucky. And he was funded by APIC, or that Israel-funded
computer
group.
firm, whatever that is. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
They're crooked as hell.
Just so embarrassing.
The thing that I would point out in that is we're talking about Kentucky, first off, and yes, that is judgmental of me, but also Kentucky. And anybody that is still a Republican is going to be devoted to Trump. It's not like that's going to go any other way. It's hopeful to think that he would be able to topple him, but I don't think it's a surprise that it happened necessarily. It's just anybody that is still left doing that is devoted, and they're just a bunch of the kooks that are going to stay with him no matter what happens.
I also think that if you're a conspiracy kind of person, apparently Kentucky doubled the number of Republican voters. So, all the stuff that they're saying
Call
that
to
had
action.
Biden.
Yeah, we need you now.
The stuff that we had where they were like, how is this possible when Biden won? It's all happening now. We've got earlier in the week, Elon Musk's baby mama was openly talking about how Elon admitted to her about meddling with the election.
Oh, I didn't see that. I saw an interview with her, but I guess I didn't see the right interview.
It wasn't an interview. It was a get ready with me where she's putting on makeup and she just streamed it out. Maybe we can talk about it next week on the show, but I will send it over to you.
Yeah.
But it is real, the election meddling.
I just feel so discouraged day to day, and I've gotten to the point where I have gotten complacent in my discouragement, like so many other people. Doesn't mean I'm not going to go out and protest still, but I've just gotten to this place of, okay, whatever is going to happen because people now are more pissed off than ever. And
I mean, it's insane. Think about the other high points of the news. Donald Trump sued the IRS, and I want to say it was like a $10 billion suit. And then instead, what he did is he bypassed the actual judicial system. He settled directly with the Department of Justice for a $1.8 billion slush fund.
I saw that this weekend. That is the thing that just enraged me.
I'm so enraged by it. And that slush fund is going to be used to pay, allegedly, to pay reparations to the January 6th insurrectionists. Taxpayer money.
Yeah. And he put some kind of protection in there that they can no longer come after him again and all kinds of other bullshit. And I look at that and I'm like, yes, it enrages me. I got so pissed off, and then I had to not look at the news for a couple days because it is the thing this week that just made me feel terrible as a human being. And then when I try to feel a little bit positive, I would have to think that there are ways around him doing that because none of this can be legal. It's, hey, my government is telling me that I can have this $2 billion to give to whoever I want, and I'm going to judge that I can have that money, and I'm going to say that you can never go after me again. That has to be illegal. And if it's not, we're just going to get to a place of having a goddamn revolution in this country again.
And so talking about revolution, there are two things. One, to be clear and to put a fine point on what you were just saying, is part of the settlement terms reached between Donald Trump and the Department of Justice were that he, his family, or any of his companies cannot be investigated by the IRS retrospectively or in the future.
Yeah. To me, there's no way that can be legal. You can't just do that. As you interpret our Constitution, and maybe there has to be revolution and the Supreme Court gets ousted, half of it anyway, and maybe that's what needs to happen. But I will say that if we go through these midterms and they get effed with, like I think people are going to F with them, and they try to suppress the vote, I think that is going to be the breaking point for this country, and people are going to feel so frustrated that that could be the start of the revolution. I think all of those people that were crazy enough to go kill a United Healthcare CEO are going to be activated. And I think that's going to be where we're at. And I don't want that for clarity, depending on who's listening, but I think that could very well be the tipping point.
And I'm going to sound, again, like a conspiracy weirdo. However, what do we think the $1.8 billion is for? He's just saying it's for the January 6th insurrectionists. You know what you can buy with $1.8 billion? A militia. So if it doesn't work, going through the Department of Homeland Security, getting all the dude bro chumps to work for ICE, and then if their powers start to get hampered and the government turns off the tap of funding because your own party starts to go, well, slow down, tough, this is actually psycho. Imagine if you needed to fund a private army because you plan to take over a country. I wonder how much money you would need.
Well, and that is when we will have fighting in the streets. And aside from that part of it, which I think is very worthy in considering, it also sends a message that, hey, just support me and support me no matter what. And even if you're inconvenienced, you get a big payout on the other side of it. And I'm going to take care of you because you're being corrupt with me. I'm your Uncle Donald.
It is a festering cesspool of perpetual shit. And it's one of these things where if you've ever walked through a yard that has some kind of sewer leak, you smell it before you see it, and then you start walking and you're like, oh, this is a bit damp. And then you realize, oh, let's just dig it up. And then you just dig it and it gets more filthy, more wet, more stinky, more crappy. And I don't even think we know the half of it. All we're seeing is what's on the surface, like the 3,700 transactions that Donald Trump made in exchange, like on the stock exchange, trades that he made since the beginning of the year. Hello?
From the beginning, I've been saying, wow, it seems like he and his friends could be manipulating the stock market. Is anybody looking at that? And then it was said, no, I don't think so. And now they're saying, gee, maybe. And yeah, that's absolutely to be considered.
They absolutely are. It is so horrific to me that, one, polite society operates on a basis of trust. I was actually having this conversation with my children. We have a little thing that sits in our house, and every week I change it over, and it's all of these little cards about good behavior, good manners, and about morals. And there's a little topic on it. And the one that we have up this week is be trustworthy. And so that's kind of the theme of the week. What does it say about you? And one of the things that we got to talking about is that as humans, the thing that underpins our entire society is trust. And even if we say, I don't trust people, the reality is we kind of do. So you and I just going to the grocery store, we trust that everybody else who's in the grocery store isn't going to stab us to death. That in some way it's that there is this contract that exists. We also expect that the people and trust that the people that we vote in will operate in the way that we intend, that we elect them to the highest office because we trust them that they're going to take care of us or do the right thing. And it is absolutely mind-boggling to me that for the first time in our 250-year history, that we are having to legislate against small brain corruption. Like anyone, any man off the street, you would say, if someone did this and they made money from it and they were the president, would that be bad? And everyone would go, yes, that is bad. But we're getting people on technicalities. Well, nobody told me that I couldn't steal that money. That big pile of money didn't have a sign on it that said, don't steal me.
Anytime he gets called on something lately, it's, I didn't know anything about that. I didn't know about that. I didn't know that Kristi Noem was doing that, and I just found out, so now I'm going to fire her. That's his new move, too, is he just doesn't know about things. Whereas every CEO, usually at a decent company, will say, you know what, that happened under my watch. I am responsible, so I will take responsibility for it. That never happens with him, ever. He's never at fault.
Yeah.
Terrible person.
Zero accountability.
Yeah.
And this whole thing where he's going to start a war with Cuba as well. That's the other thing that I read just before we...
Guaranteed that's on hold. Too bad a look because he can't manage the Iran war. He looks like an asshole idiot in that. And he knows he does.
Well, he absolutely does. But then we're trying to make sense of something that's nonsense. So we have to think about, why does the war exist? The war exists only for people to make money. It's to fuel the military pipeline. We're spending all of this money because his family and friends make money off defense spending.
And does anybody think realistically that if and when we get through all this, that it's going to end with him and his family getting into a jet and flying off to some safe place in the world so they can avoid prosecution? And I totally see it ending that way. And we're going to have to hunt them down and find them like we did bin Laden, and hopefully we do it. And as a guy that watches the political thing, I am constantly frustrated by the Republicans that are just corrupt and bootlicking and don't have a backbone at all, because most of them know they are doing wrong, and the pussies in the Democratic Party who will stand up and do nothing, and many of them just leave their jobs rather than stay and fight. There's so many representatives now that are just choosing to quit because they don't feel like they can win. All right, at least go out saying that you tried. And Schumer and all these people that are going to try to negotiate and work things out, that's not going to do you any good. This is not a time when we need to be rational. This is not a time where we need to be nice and negotiate. This is our Constitution and life that we need to fight for, and democracy, and step up, you fucking pussies. I swear. I get a little bit worked up.
I agree.
Like, do something. I don't know what you do. That's your job, but you're not doing anything, is the way I feel.
I think that what we could do is, for some of these Senate seat runoffs for November, bear with me, it's a big idea. They fight each other bare-fisted on the White House lawn.
Works for me.
Yep. Someone is going to have their shit kicked out of them by AOC.
What was the meme I saw? Oh, it was AOC talking to RFK, and it was juxtaposed with Princess Leia talking to the evil emperor in Star Wars. It was like so perfect, and she was so ready to tear him a new ass in such a great picture. And I get worked up about this, and I'm like, yeah, do something. But then I look at the Supreme Court, and how do we get rid of those corrupt people? It's not like they're elected. That's the worst idea ever, is having a Supreme Court that we can't get rid of, because now all of this is happening. What do we do about that? And then I think, oh, the only thing that's going to work, not advocating for it, is a revolution. People are going to get pissed off, and stuff's going to happen.
Our Supreme Court is no better than the parody kangaroo court from The Simpsons, where Bart Simpson was sentenced to get a massive boot up the ass. It's an absolute farce.
Yeah.
It's just a tool for the machine. And I sound so jaded. I can't wait for November. I have to believe in my heart that things are going to change. But to answer your first question, they all know, Republicans know, and even Steve Bannon, that fucking cockhead, even he knows, and he said it, and I know we don't have the clip cued, but he said something along the lines of, if we lose in November, we're all going to prison.
Yeah.
And there are recordings of it, and they all know. Donald Trump doesn't have to worry, because realistically, he's on borrowed time. If he wasn't getting propped up and didn't have a medical team, he'd be dead.
See,
and he will die.
They keep saying that, but I am bothered by the fact that I have had somebody legitimately evil in my life for so many years, and they get sick, and those hardcore evil people stick around forever. It is hard to get them to die. It goes on forever, and it drags out, and you're like, I'm just waiting for it, and it doesn't happen. And either way, it's not soon enough, but I am worried he's going to go on to live more.
He might. But I don't think so.
Because that spirit of evil so keeps you propped up and energized.
It is funny how that works, right? It's true what they say, only the good die young.
Yep.
Or is it that they haven't had enough time to become evil?
Or is it just a general passion? Perhaps they are so passionate in their evil that it keeps them going. And maybe there's cases where we could find somebody so passionate in their good has gotten past stuff and kept going because they were so passionate in their good.
Mother Teresa.
There you go.
Old as shit.
Yeah.
Fuck. His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Old as shit.
These are people I will nod and agree with you because I don't know much about them.
Yeah, I just nodded and almost nodded my head off my shoulders and smashed my chin into my microphone.
Yeah.
So,
I'll see if I can bring that up so everybody can hear it.
Sorry about that. And anyway, I swore, and I know we're trying not to do that.
No, I'm
so
trying. You can do whatever you want.
I need different words. What are some words that you think I could use instead of cursing?
My urge there was to, for the joke, repeat the George Carlin 7 dirty words you can't see on TV. I was watching a documentary on that this week, and somebody said to me, "Oh, what are those 7?" And I can just rail them off. I have them memorized exactly. I'm so proud of that. It's one of my prideful moments. Anyway.
I think that anything can be used as a swear word and communicate the same derision depending on how you use it. And it's actually a game we play in our house. And I'll give you one of my favorite lines when somebody does something that is just objectively fucking stupid. Good one, you absolute spatula.
I think I've heard you do spatula before, yeah.
Yeah, the spatula, there's something about the spatula that just, we just all burst out laughing. But I wonder, what other words are there that could be? Oh, the other one I say is I'll go cheese and rice.
Wow.
Instead of
really stepping out there, Mom.
Instead of being blasphemous. By the way, we're not religious. I do it because it's hilarious. But we need to come up with some other words. What ones would you use?
I don't know because maybe I'm not smart enough. I feel like I have a vocabulary, and I feel like I've toned down the swearing in this episode. I feel like there's other words that you can use, and I do use the swear words as a punctuator. Other than that, I feel like just the normal words are what works. I feel like the person that says shut the front door, they're annoying, and I don't want to be that person. You know what I mean? Oh, shut the front door. Oh, HE double hockey sticks. I don't want to be that guy.
I like that. That's
Do
cute.
you?
It's funny. Yeah, only because I think it's funny if you're doing it to be funny. I find it annoying if you're doing it because you're trying to be incredibly pious.
Sincere.
If you're doing it to be sincere, I'm like, I don't think that you're my type of person. But, you know, if you're out there saying, well, what are you all doing, effing and jeffing?
Way to go, Flanders.
Yeah, exactly. One of my friends, if one of my mates does that, I will giggle enthusiastically because I'm here for it. I think that is super cute and funny. And we do it in front of our kids as well. Like my children, although I did hear one of them swear for the first time the other day, and that was funny. They wouldn't dare do it in front of us because there are rules. But, they're starting to expand their lexicon to include curse words. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
At least they started out strong with what I believe is the cornerstone and the most versatile swear word, which is fuck.
There's a whole documentary on that. I own it, in fact, on DVD. There's a documentary on the word fuck that they interviewed people and went through the history of the word and all the different versions of the word. And it's pretty entertaining. I'll find it and give you the title if you want. I think it's
I would
just
love
called
to learn
fuck.
a little bit more about that. Last week we talked about the buffalo sentence, and there's buffalo, 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 buffalo.
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
Okay. Also, one of my favorite sentences is fuck you, you fucking fucks.
Yeah. It's just such a good word. You can make it an entire sentence.
Word.
And by the way, I would say I would rather have my kids using mother effer than 6-7 anytime.
I enthusiastically concur.
All righty. So before we took that side quest, as you would call it, on all the political stuff, I was wanting to talk a little bit more about SNL.
Let's.
Because I tried to watch a little bit of that show over the weekend, and here's what I have come away with. I might just be a bitter old man that doesn't understand the new Saturday Night Live. I hate that show so much. I feel like other than Weekend Update, I never find it funny. I feel like the writing sucks, the bits suck. Other than Colin Jost and Michael Che, I hate every single man on that show. All the dudes that are on that show, to me, are just so annoying for various different reasons. The one that stood out to me trying to watch some of the sketches is that Marcelo Hernandez, he's just the worst. He's one note. He's just that guy always, and he's just smug and has no range. And every single dude except those two I mentioned, and the Trump guy is passable. I think he does a decent Trump, but they all just suck, and the show sucks. Is it just me?
Well, ratings would suggest that it's just us, because I happen to agree with you. I perhaps am not so mad about it, but Weekend Update, I only watch it for Weekend Update and the musical guest.
Right.
And I don't watch it live because I want to be able to fast forward through. I want to be able to skip the shit that I don't want to watch. Some of the skits are just so lame.
They take a premise and beat it to death for 10 minutes.
Yeah. And sometimes it's just so awkward and not funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
not a fan.
I feel like, I don't know what it is, but Kenan Thompson, I feel like they put him in a bit just to have him in there. Like, oh, he's here, put him in there. He's not doing anything. He's just like, what's a great Kenan Thompson character?
I'm drawing blanks.
Me
The
too.
only thing that I'm having unaided recall on right now, and it was Hernandez and the other guy, but it was last week or the week before, the suicide kamikaze dolphins.
I don't think I saw that.
It was so dumb.
Yeah.
But it was part of the Weekend Update where they were interviewing these two kamikaze dolphins, and it was the worst part of the update. I think the idea of the bit was good, but they let them go too far. It's like watching improv where they've run out of ideas.
And
that's
okay,
the
we're
thing.
just sticking with this premise over and over, and maybe once it would be fine, but you're doing this forever and it's terrible.
Exactly. I would much prefer they had the musical guest play another song and shorten the segments, because it's like you can really see them struggling sometime.
When I watch it,
It's
I try
awkward.
to watch most of the show on YouTube because I'm not going to watch it live, and I don't even have the facilities to watch it live nowadays with the way I have my TV set up. And I find none of it funny. And then what I've noticed, with the exception of this week, they don't usually have the musical guests on YouTube, and I think that's because of copyright and ASCAP or BMI and all that kind of music licensing stuff. This week, Paul McCartney, they had those videos up, and wow, did you happen to see any of that?
I haven't watched it yet.
Paul McCartney, respect, but enough, dude. You need to hang it up. There's no reason you should still be doing that. I'm not a big Beatles fan. I respect the Beatles. I actually kind of like some of the Wings stuff, and I was going through YouTube, and I'm like, oh, Paul McCartney, Saturday Night Live, Band on the Run, great song. I'm going to check that out. He's not able to do it anymore, and I feel bad for saying that, but it's time to just say, hey, I've had 70 years of this great musical life and changed things, but I am retired and I need to stop doing this because I am becoming David Lee Roth, and it's time to end it.
And Brian Wilson. Do you remember when Brian Wilson started to fade out and he just would not stop, and they got somebody to sing at the same time who sounds exactly like him? Yeah, I agree.
And
It's
what
enough.
is that in the artist? Is it just ego? Because they don't need the money, obviously. Like, why would you keep going? You don't need to.
I think that's a big assumption that they don't need to.
Paul McCartney doesn't need the money for sure.
Maybe it is something. I think before the show we were talking about the concept of self-worth from your vocation, and I was telling you a story about how I took a contracting job because, as we all know, all the long-time listeners know that I retired.
But she's also type A.
Yeah,
So.
and so I took a contract, for the summer. And during my first meeting, I had a really great time. I walked away from it feeling like, hey, this is part of who I am. I'm really good at this. It made me feel good about myself. And I wonder if for musical artists, it's that. Maybe if they don't get in front of a crowd, maybe if they don't have that feedback, maybe if they're not doing their thing, they don't feel like themselves. Maybe they feel like a part of themselves is missing.
And from what you're saying, it kind of sounds like a psychological dependency to me, that there is an emptiness in them that for whatever reason, they need that fulfillment and they need that feedback. Maybe it's because of their lousy childhood. Maybe it's because they had an okay kind of childhood and they've had that kind of feedback for 60 years and they need it to feed their soul. But that almost seems like a psychological issue to me.
You could also be describing an addiction, because think about going on the road. I'm fortunate in the sense that I have had the unique experience of being a band manager and organizing tours and actually going on the road with bands. Nothing like these big stadium shows, but certainly like a couple of weeks in a van. It is a young person's game. It is exhausting. Even if you are a multi-millionaire staying in the nicest hotels, all of that up and down in an airplane, travel, living out of a suitcase, it chips away at you. You physically know it's not good for you, in the same way that sticking a needle in your arm isn't good for you.
Sometimes you do both, one to feed the other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're not an international rock star, but you are addicted to smack. And so you do that even though it's not good for you. And there has to be, every time I see an artist who is doing something like that, it has to be a compulsion, something that's driven to feed something deep inside them, like an addiction. Or they're being forced by their estate. Who knows? I always joke, every time I see one of these people, you know, like that band Five from the 90s, it was like Backstreet Boys and this UK boy band called Five. They have just come out back on tour, and my first thought was, someone's run out of money.
As you were talking about that, I was thinking about the fact that I've introduced a couple bands, and I think I get it a little bit, and I now get what they feed off. Because just going on stage with a roar of people and introducing a band, that's like, ooh, you feel that, and you feel that energy just introducing them, and then to be the band, that's gotta be huge. And that's why they need to come off stage and do heroin to come down off of that incredible high and thrill. So I guess that's maybe what it is. But still, Paul McCartney, you're becoming David Lee Roth.
Yeah, Paul McCartney, time to hang up your boots.
Your sauce will mix with ours, and we'll make a good goulash, baby. Tenacious D, Dio. Go listen to that song. That's about them telling Dio he's too old.
Tenacious D are amazing.
They're getting back together, it looks like. They put out a video with them frolicking on the beach together.
That's good. I'm glad that Jack and Kyle have resolved their differences, which, if you all recall, was largely political. And I think that that's nice. I still believe that people with diametrically opposed political beliefs should be able to talk and should be able to be friends.
I like Jack Black, but I feel like he just kind of pussed out on that. Like, it was at a time when, if that happened now, it wouldn't be as big a deal. But when it happened then, you couldn't do that kind of thing. And I feel like Jack didn't support his friend that made an off-cuff statement and actually was right, if you look at it. But yeah, that's the way I interpret it on my high horse.
It was an interesting place to draw the line in the sand, but I'm sure he was just doing what he thought was right. It's interesting how we hold celebrities to a higher standard than sort of ordinary people. And I know we want to pretend like they're like super special and that kind of thing, but realistically, they're not. They're ordinary people, but we expect so much more of them because they're in the public eye. And I think kind of unfairly.
I think that's true. I think that is absolutely the way it has gone, build them up to tear them down. I think that's a thing. But I also think that we've now evolved in our hatred, in that we used to really want to take down celebrities and put them in their place when they effed up or said something that we didn't like. And I feel like more and more now we're putting that just on the common man. Oh, that person said this, and I want to call them out in social media and get it on video so I can be famous for a day and make them lose their job. I feel like that's happening more and more because we just can't get enough of it with these celebrities.
Yeah. And I'll go back to the point at the top of the show, which is I think that men are apathetic and bored and looking to make a difference. And same for some women, but they want to joust, they want to jostle. And so they're doing it on social media, trying to ruin people's lives. I also think that if you had to go down to somebody's place of employment, like physically drag your ass down there, book a meeting and sit in a room with someone and outline your complaints, people would be less likely to do it. And then the companies, the thing that's puss-worthy is that a lot of these companies as well, they'll get the complaint and the person reading it or whatever will probably be like, oh man, this is fucking shit. There's nothing in this. I agree with you. But because they don't want to lose sales or whatever, they put so much onus on the public outrage. They're like, well, we got to do it. Got to do it.
Yep.
And get rid of them.
Well, I think it is safe and accurate to say that I know what the world needs. Do you know what the world needs?
Love, sweet love. No, what?
More Christina.
Shut the hell away from me.
That is what the world needs.
More Christina.
I'm putting together a whole thing of Christina clips. I'm working on those. I'm remastering them a little bit, and I'm finding it's just way too much. Like, we might have to devote an entire show to Christina. I don't know how that's going to work out. Maybe we do that as a summer week off show or something. But, oh, there's so much goodness with her. She's such a crazy, entertaining person.
Has anyone ever told Christina that this show exists? And that she features every
I tried.
week?
I commented, and I wish, well, do I have it? I would tell people the name. When we talked about it before, I mentioned the name, and when we do more clips, I'll give the name. It's one of those police watch body cam YouTube things, and I posted to their comments, hey, we talk about this on the show. Would love to talk to you about it and do more on this, and I hate the word collaborate, but maybe collaborate on something, and they just never replied, so I guess they don't need it. But Christina, I wonder if she's like a celebrity in her neighborhood.
I wonder if we are the only people who have held on to her.
I can't think that that's the case based on this rich pot of audio gold I'm finding. She's a lunatic and she is so great. I love people this effed up.
She's no Anton from Huntsville, Alabama. They're ripping everybody up in here. Hide your kids, hide your wife. He really got famous from that.
And then when people made songs out of it, ugh, yuck.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, there were songs made of that.
Love it. Do you know what song I miss that I really think should be, just bring it back, the corn of the summer? The song of the summer is Corn. Corn. It's got the nubs. It's got the juice. Okay.
There's a corn song?
It was another one of those. Yeah, it was some kid was eating corn and made a little song about corn and about how good corn is. And then it got turned into...
Oh, okay. I kind of remember this.
Yeah, it's a couple of years ago now. But it really was at one point the song of the summer, Corn.
Surprised that didn't become the next Baby Shark. Because that would be the way to go.
I wonder if Baby Shark is still around. Baby Shark was big back in the day. Like, I think it's been almost 20 years now since Baby Shark came out. So if I was a DJ, that would be my late night banger. I would drop Baby Shark just to watch the crowd go absolutely bananas.
Do you remember Chocolate Rain?
Do I ever?
Fucking chocolate rain was so good. I liked that one.
Good.
That guy had a voice. Anyway, we got to
Shut the hell away from me, Stuart.
Have a great one more next week.
More and more. It is great to see you as always. Stay safe. Be vigilante.
Okay, you know how this goes. Like us, subscribe, tell your friends, write a nice review, engage with us. We're Total Babble on Instagram, on Facebook, on Threads, and on Blue Sky. Email is show@totalbabble.com. The Total Babble Podcast.
I am becoming David Lee Roth, and it's time to end it.